Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi 13th chapter where Vidyaranya talks about Brahmanande Atmananda. So experience or enjoyment of the Brahmanandam, that is the infinite happiness, is same as experiencing oneself, because experience oneself that I love myself most, number one, and I love myself most because I am the source of happiness, because there is no happiness outside. Even when I am enjoying and looking for happiness in the external objects, the happiness that I get even by fulfilling desires is also due to the happiness of my own self, because when I enjoy something, my mind, which is longing for enjoyment, and when desire is fulfilled, my mind is back to myself. And when the mind is now quietened, because there is no more longing mind or wanting mind or desiring mind in those moments, when it is satisfied, the Atmananda only reflects and that quietened mind, and that is the happiness. But we associate that happiness to the outside object, and therefore we depend again on more and more of that object, because I am getting that happiness from enjoying only. But what I am enjoying is only my own happiness, but I am going roundabout way to get that happiness. So if I can revel and get happiness by myself without depending on something other than myself, because there is nothing happiness outside as it is, then I am Atmanandaha, and that is Brahmanandaha. That is the essence of this topic, of this chapter itself. So when you enjoy infinite happiness is what you enjoy when you enjoy yourself. And here says, how can that be? Question was posed, how can that be? Because Brahman is infinite and Atma is self that I know is only finite, because I think I am only this and not that. So how can Atma is equal to Brahman? So for that only Vidyaranya gives about the essence of this creation from Brahman, which is same as Atma. Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayu. All the creation is coming. I says, if the creation is coming, I don't see Atma out there. I am only saying varieties of names and forms. Therefore, scripture itself provides, it is like the mud becoming into various pots, or gold becoming into various ornaments. So this is a cause-effect relationship where the effect, in the effect that I see, cause is inherent in that. And that's what is being explained now. What I see as an effect is only a superimposed attributive names and forms. Pot or a jug or something is only a name for a form of the clay in that form. So it is the clay only, but I am giving a different name and a different depending upon the form, akara. So that mind, that clay, which is actually Nirakaram. Why Nirakaram? The clay is initially we started with the bowl of clay, or with a clod of clay. So, but clod is also an akara for clay. Clay itself doesn't have any akara. Gold itself doesn't have any. People ask me, say gold is becoming into ornaments. Says that example is gold bar is becoming. Gold bar is also akara, but gold AU in chemistry, is AU doesn't have an akara. It's only an atomic size of that form. We call it AU with so many protons, neutrons and electrons. And we cannot see that also. Only when it is in clumped together that I can see through my eyes, then I say some akara. Akara is only for a form of assemblage of gold atoms. Assemblage of gold atoms in the form of a bar or a biscuit, now converted into assemblage of the same gold in the form of an ornament. So from the gold point, there is no change in the Yaramma. Oh. So it may be release of the. It's okay. You can go and check. Yeah. Excuse me. We have an interruption here where we need to go and open the door and so on. But anyway, here we are talking about the formation of a particular akara is coming from the gold, but akara doesn't have any substantiality of its own. A ring doesn't have a ringly substance to form. Ring is only a form with its own attributes for utility, transactability and all that. So therefore the qualities of the ring are only a quality superimposed on top of gold, but intrinsically it's a gold only. Its value depends on the gold only. Its value depends on how much gold it is. So therefore, the names and forms that are attribute, there is no real reality other than transactional reality. Because ring is different from a bangle. Where I use ring is different from where is a bangle. And therefore, there is no sattvam, that means a reality, is not there. That's what discussed in this 41 sloka. Nistatvam bhasamanancha vyaktamutpatti nashabhak tadutpattehi tasya nama vacha nishpadyate nabhi. So vyaktam says nistatvam. So in the manifestation, in the effects, there is no reality. And there is no bhasamanam. So that which can be manifested appears. So utpanna nashabhag, because it comes and goes. So ring is formed and ring is destroyed. So ring is not really real, although it is transactionally real. So this is where different acharyas differ, because they put everything into one reality. The ring is real, gold is real. For us, there is an ontological means degree of reality is different, because ring can be destroyed to become bangle, but gold still remains. So reality of the gold has to be different from reality of the ring or a bangle and a necklace. So one has to differentiate the degree of reality, and therefore that which doesn't undergo any change alone is real. Gold doesn't undergo any real change, even though it forms a shape changes and form changes. That's only superficial changes in the form of, instead of a biscuit form, it's the form of a ring. In the form of instead of ringing form, it is forming into gold. And the value of the contents of the gold, if it's not lost in the transformation, because matter has to be conserved, then the value of its intrinsic value is not changed. Superimposed value, because it's a particular form of a ring which is difficult to make, then that is for the formation of the effect only. Therefore, that which has a utpatti and nasham, so tadutpattehi tasya nama vacha nishpadyate nabihi. So it is only namesake only that something is born and something is dying, because in principle, that's the one that pervades everything is eternal. That alone is real. That's how the Gitopadesa starts, where when Arjuna was crying for the names and forms, because the name and form is going to be destroyed in the form of grandsire or the teacher, he says, Natvevaham chatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nasaiva nabhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. I was never time, I was not there, never time, I was not there. So that which is continuously pervaded, that is the essence of that. Everything else is only superficial superimpositions, and therefore nastatvam bhasamanam cha. So this thought is continued here in the next sloka 42. Vakte nashte na maitad vakte nashte na maitad na vaktreshu anuvartate tena namna nirupyatva vyaktam tadrupa muchyate Vyaktam tadrupam uchyati. So vyakte nashtepi. Even when the effect dies, when the ring is got destroyed, let's say, etad nama, that name, na vakteshu, in the mouths of people, that means those people who remember, hey, that was a beautiful ring that I used to have it. So that ring can be recollected back, at least thought-wise. So in the vakteshu, it can still remain. So it's not in the mouth of the people. Anuvartate, it can be continuously be there. So even though the original ring has been destroyed, but its name can remain in the mouths of people who have associated with the ring. That's what it means. Now, vakteshu, in the mouths of people, anuvartate, continues to be. Vaktam tena, the effect by that nama name, nirupatvad, so being referred to, tadrupam uchyate, it's only the form that is being remaining, not the name, that is name, but not the material. Material is gone, only rupam. So rupam, say there's a Upanishad sloka is there, that says every form and form keeps changing, but this is the eternal one, doesn't change. So the nirupatva being referred to, tad rupam uchyate, it's only existing in the mouths of people only, and the modification is only name and a form. So there was a question that was raised in some of the discussions, is this nama and a rupa. Rupa is the attribute. Attribute belongs to the object. Attribute and object cannot be separated. So if it is a blue lotus, blue is the attribute of the lotus. I cannot remove the blueness and give you lotus for it to be blue lotus. If it is a colorless lotus, that's a separate. We are talking about blue lotus. Or this ring that fits me, this ring with ID and OD, particular ring is associated with the object there. So when I perceive the ring, actually from science point, I don't perceive the object rupam itself, I perceive only reflection of the rupam, because rupam stays with the object. Reflection of the rupam in the mind as a thought only. But anyway, that's a different story. But the question that was posed is, does nama comes and the rupa comes first? This has been asked as a logical question. It says, which comes first? Nama rupam in that. It says rupam is an attribute. Is object comes first, or the nama name comes first? So what is the answer? This is, name came after the object. But object is not created unless a creator has to have some form in mind. So when a goldsmith is making a ring has not formed into shape for us to transact, but it's not there yet. It's only in the biscuit form. But the concept is already in the mind of the creator, that is the goldsmith, for him to make a particular form of a ring that's going to be used. So form is forming with the name in his mind. So with the name is form in his mind is already there. But how did he get that form? That means he has seen obviously different types of rings. So ring is already known to him for him to make a ring here. Otherwise he cannot make, for example, a gaga boo boo there. Using the object bar, say make gaga boo boo. How can I make what is gaga boo boo? You have to give me some picture of it or some form of it. So I have to give a design or something with all the specifications, and essentially I am describing to him a concept of the object of gaga boo boo for him to make. He may make it to my specifications if he has a clear idea of what all those attributes that I wanted. So attributive content, that is rupa, and associated with it a nama also is being formed, and say, yes, I have made gaga boo boo for you. You call it gaga boo boo with the specifications of whatever you gave, I made that for you. So from then on I can have a name gaga boo boo for the form also. But form and name together go together, and even when the form is gone, name can remain. That's why Ramanamam is more powerful than Rama itself, because even though Rama came and Rama left, Namam remains, and the Namam is more powerful than real Rama, because Rama, even after Rama gone, Ramanama is helping many people also. So therefore, name goes is essentially, there used to be an advertisement when I went to States first. There used to be a Zenith, TV, and they used to sell TV. At that time, there was not much of video, all those things, internets and all that. So TV is only entertainment. And they used to have an advertisement for Zenith. The company went bankrupt. But the advertisement is the quality goes before the name goes. So this quality is the attribute of Zenith TVs, but the name has already gone with the TV, and the name TV and associated with the ZV TVs is the quality. So the quality came actually after the name only. Anyway, here the discussion is which came first. It is actually like a chicken egg situation or a tree seed situation. It is anirvachanayam. Which came first? The seed came first or the tree came first? For seed you need a tree. For tree you need a seed. So there is a beginningless. That is essentially anirvachanayam. It cannot be said this came first or that came first. So anirvachanaya khyati is what is actually Advaita prescribed, because we don't know what it is. Here the emphasis is even when the rupam is not there, nama can still remain in the minds of people. So tena namna nirupatva yaktum tadrupam uchyate. So it's existing in the form of a name even when rupa is not there. What means rupam is not really real, and therefore what is there is real is only substantive only. That's what is the reference to the topic here. 43. Nistatvatvad vinashitva nistatvad vinashitva vacharambhana namataha vyaktasya natu tadrupam satyam kinchit mudadivat because nistatvad vinashitva vicharambhana namataham vyaktasya natu tadrupam satyam kinchana mudadivat. So vyaktasya, so in the manifest effect, vyaktasya rupam, nature is that kinchit, a little, mud adivatu, like the mud and unmanifested power. Satyam, real, natu, never, nistatva, being unreal, vinashatva, being perishable, vacharambanataha, being merely a name, that is not a sattvam, that's not real. What is real is only the mud, not the parts and the any other modifications of the mud. So here it is defining here the reality. So what is real, what's not real, and this is where the philosophers differ. Philosophers are called darshanas or darshanikas, or the philosophers, and the philosophy is called darshana. And you take Ramanuja philosophy or Madhva philosophy or any other philosophies. So each one differ in this. In this sense, they consider that world is real. Jagat Satyam. Why? Because I can see, experience. So the criteria for reality is experienceability, transactability, and so on. Whereas Gaudapada in the Mandukya Karika, he says that is not a basis for reality. Why do you say so? Because even in the dream also I am experiencing and transacting with the world. So there are trees and the valleys, and I can see, I can talk, I can listen. As long as I am in the dream, the dreamer doesn't know that it is a dream, while in the dream, and it's considered as a real because the world is real from the dreamer's perspective. Only when I am awakened to the higher state of consciousness, I say that was not really real, it's only apparent in my mind. So therefore the reality is what? Is that the experienceability, transactability and utility, all TTs are not criteria for the reality. So what is the criteria for reality? Advaita is very scientific in that sense. It says Trikala abhaditam satyam, that which remain the same all periods of time without undergoing any modifications, that alone is real. So that in these worldly examples, we are taking, the scripture is taking the Mrut example as well as the gold as well as later iron example is taken to tell that it's only vacharambanam vikaraha namadeyam, only namke vaste, that means only for namesake, the namesake, the creation. So name remains a lot more than the rupam also. That's what we said even the rupam gets destroyed, name can be in the mouths of the people. So namke vaste, so nistatvad, vinashatvad, because there is no reality, and vinasham, because it gets destroyed. Therefore vacharambanam namataha, it's only for the speech, name and namesake only the product is, or the reality. Vyaktasya natu tadrupam. So in the manifest effect, rupam, nature is also is kinchit mrudadi. It's mostly like a mrudadi, only by the mud only. So what is real is the name, and all other things are only in the vacharambanam. It's only speech, but form, if you look at it, form comes actually from the mud only. Without the mud, you cannot have the form forming also. So if I remove the mud, there is no form stable. If I remove the gold, there is no ring there. So ring as a form can exist only because of the presence of the gold in that. So from gold it came, by gold it is sustained. So sustenance comes from the mrud, from the pots, and from the suvarna, that is gold, and for the abharanas. So what is real is that which remains the same all the time, and what remains the same here is not the name but form coming from the mrut only, from the mud only, from the point of the reality only, from the point of that which came, from which it is formed, into which by which it sustained, and into which it goes back. 44. Vyaktakale tatah purvam, Vyaktakale tatah purdvam, Urdhvam apyeka rupa bhag, Urdhvam apyeka rupa bhag, Satatva avinasham cha, Satatvam avinasham cha, Satyam rudvastu kachyati, Satyam rudvastu kachyati. Together, Vyaktakale tatah purvam, Urdhvam apyeka rupa bhag, Satatvam avinasham cha, Satyam rudvastu kachyati. So Vyaktakale, in the manifested form, Vyaktakale, Tataha Purvam, before that, before it formed into the pot, or before it formed into the ring, Urdhvam, later, after the ring, after the pot is destroyed, or after the ring is destroyed, Api Ekarupa Bhag, unchanging is Satatvam, that is more substantially real compared to the one that is changing. What was the substantial? It is the clay that was there before it became a form. It is clay that even when the pot gets destroyed, it's still as a clay, and therefore that is more real compared to that form that came in between, and that's not there later. So that is changing, is not. So Avinasham is that is real, and Avinasham, that is indestructible, and that is Sattvatvam, that is substantially real, and Tatyam, therefore it is real, Kachyate, he said. So mud is real because it was there before, it was there later, whereas pot is not really real. We say really real, but it is real enough to experience it, real enough to use it, real enough to differentiate from other forms. It is real at the transactional level, because mud, I cannot collect water, I need a pot to collect the water. So it's real enough for that, but not really real because it is temporal. That's what has to be. So in the relative example, the mud is much more real compared to the pot, Gold is much more real compared to ornament. 45. Vyaktim ghato vikarascha Vyaktim ghato vikarasched yattairnama bhiriritaha arthascedannatah kasman namrudo bodhe nivartate Vyaktim ghato vikarasched yattairnama bhiriritaha arthascedannatah kasman namrudo bodhe nivartate. So Vyakti Ghataha, the individual part, that is the manifested as a part, Vyaktam is here manifestation, that from which the clay is formed, now it is in the part form, so that part, Vikaraha, modification. So if you say that it's only a modification of the clay in that form, Hitaihi namabhihi, that's only by the namesake it is only a part, but actually it is a mud. Iritaha, if it says so, Arthaha, the thing referred to Chid. So Anrutaha, therefore it's not really real, it's only mud only. So Mad Bodhi, so when the mud is known, Kasmat Nanivartate, so why does it disappear, or why does it not being transacted? So we know it's a mud only. Why all other names unnecessarily, which is changing names? Therefore, we can say, knowing the knowledge that it is mud, then there is no pot anymore, because it's only mud. So why it's only mud knowledge only? Why we need a pot knowledge and all that? Pot knowledge is saying that that's not real. So only let's teach only the real knowledge to everybody. That's what we're saying essentially. Says this is a question, or rhetorical question, or a question that is posed by a student. Say, but therefore it should be called only now because what's the big deal? We know it's only mud. So what does not disappear after the knowledge of the mud? So once I know that it is a mud, then pot should not be there. It's only mud only, because it was a mud before, it's a mud now, and it will be mud, and it is indestructible is the one that is mud. That's only taking different shapes. Why don't you call it just as a mud and forget all other names? That's one aspect. And also, once I know the mud, the other one should not be there. The pot should not be there. It should be only mud. Why? There's a pot and other things are also. So once I have the pot knowledge, once I have the mud knowledge, I should not see any more pots and pans, because I see only mud. Because I have the knowledge of the mud. So all these things are implied in that. So also when a jnani knows that everything is Brahman, the people think that he should not see any other object. He should see only Brahman everywhere, because he knows it's only Brahman, and appearing as many. But once he understood the knowledge that it is Brahman, he should see Brahman only, and that's what essentially is a question or a doubt. Okay, here the teacher answers. Nivruttayeva yasmate tat satyatva matirgata tat satyatva matirgata idruk nivruttire vatra bodhajanatya bhasanam Takada Nivruttiyeva yasmate tat satyatva matirgata idruk nivruttire vatra bodhajanatva bhasanam. So yasmat, that is the because, te in your tat satyamati, that once you know that it is a part as real, now that knowledge is, previous knowledge is gone, that is pot is gone. So nivritta is rejected, eva indeed. Atra there, idruk eva, like this only, the bodha, born out of this knowledge, from now on you understood it's only the mud, or it's only gold. You understood, that's great. But Nivritti, negation, abhasanam disappears, natu is not indeed. But don't say that the pot disappears. Pot still can remain as a pot, but when you understood that it's only mud, you can have an understanding or substantive knowledge that it is a mud, but transactional knowledge it is a pot. So you have 2 degrees of knowledge can be there. Even knowing that it is mud, you can see pot. A pot doesn't disappear, even though it is, you know that it is a mud only. We'll go into this because a lot of implications are there in the philosophical tradition. So once I know it's Brahman, I should not see the world, because I see only Brahman everywhere. That is true, I see Brahman everywhere, but also I see the world also. So what I call it, yeah, the visa in both visions also. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.